Union Minister Singh recently told the Lok Sabha that the Central Vista redevelopment project is likely to create large-scale indirect and direct employment and will also be crucial for economic revival in the country. Now, before we dig in deep into his comments, let me quickly remind you what exactly is the Central Vista project. The Central Vista, which is also known as the nation's power corridor, includes the construction of a new parliament building, a common central secretariat, and the revamping of the 4-kilometer long stretch, also known as the Rajpath, right from the Rashtrapati Bhavan till the India Gate. The Central Vista, ladies and gentlemen, is recognized worldwide as a striking example of urban innovative planning and architecture. The new building is said to be designed in a triangle. Remember, the current one, which was built during the British era, is circular. The government has said that the entire cost of construction of the Parliament building is about 971 crores. Now, this entire project is expected to be completed by 2024. Amid India's struggle with a crippling economy and a raging pandemic, it is crucial to understand why the Central Vista redevelopment project continues to be of utmost priority for the government. The government has explained the rationale or the reason behind the need of this project by stating that the current Parliament House building was commissioned back in 1927, which means that it is about 93 years old. The government has said that the building is now showing signs of distress and overuse. The government has said that there is acute shortage of office spaces and that there are no individual chambers for the members of parliament, which leads to inefficiency in work and can only be resolved if there is a common central secretariat. The government has said that the Central Vista is one of the most visited tourist spots or places in Delhi. It is also used for Republic Day parades and other functions which showcase the national capital to the world. Now let's go back in time a little. In the month of June, at least 60 former civil servants wrote an open letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government explaining their grave concerns about the Central Vista redevelopment project. The bureaucrats in their letter wrote, and I quote, "Redevelopment project will cause severe environmental damage and the government's move to go ahead with the project despite the ongoing COVID crisis, which demands excessive funds for strengthening the public health system, is irresponsible." The bureaucrats in the letter also mentioned that the Central Vista is at the core of the congested capital of Delhi and acts as the lungs of the city. They also wrote that with its dense tree canopies serving as a repository of the biodiversity, constructing a large number of multi-storied buildings in the national capital's open area will create congestion and irreversibly damage the environment. Now, quite contrary to what the government had claimed, the signatories to the letter also mentioned that the Central Vista was built during the British era and was celebrated after independence. They also mentioned that any amendments to this area should keep the history in mind. The bureaucrats have also alleged that the government had ignored suggestions or recommendations that were sent by various experts. Now, what's also interesting is that at a time when working remotely is being seen as a viable option, the Modi government wishes to pack this open land in the national capital with multi-story office buildings and thousands of people, which will in turn affect the already overburdened civic amenities in Delhi. Now, this is quite contrary to the 1985 National Capital Region Planning Board Act, which laid down that no new government building should come up in Delhi. The experts and the urban planners had long back foreseen that Delhi would absolutely collapse if the influx into the national capital went unchecked. Now, while the Union Minister Singh says that the Central Vista redevelopment project is the dream project of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which also includes a new residence for him, citizens and residents of Delhi have questioned whether they have a say in this, as it is their space that is being encroached. Now, just a couple of days after Tata Projects Limited won the bid to construct the new Parliament building, the Parliament approved a bill to reduce salaries of MPs given the country's economic difficulties and challenges amid the COVID pandemic. And I think it is crucial to remind and realize that the pandemic has thrown the struggling economy of the country off the cliff, as the economy has contracted 23.9% in the first quarter of 2020-21 fiscal year, which is also the worst decline among the major economies during the same quarter. With the declining economy, the jobs have also been affected. Between the period May and August 2020, 6.6 million professionals and 5 million industrial workers lost their jobs in the country. However, the government continues to be obsessed with the Central Vista redevelopment project.